Today is going to be one of those episodes because we're going to be talking about how Ben Johnson has completely changed the Chicago Bears franchise, how Caleb Williams is stepping into superstardom, and how Colston Loveland has become that guy for the Chicago Bears, and why the Bears are walking into this Ram matchup with a real chance to punch their ticket to go to the NFC Championship. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go into this content today, y'all. And I want to talk about something that I think is that a lot of Bears fans are going to agree on. And we're going to start off the episode with Ben Johnson and his comments on Colston Loveland. Ben Johnson has been very, very, boastful in a way about his young rookie, and he should. Colston Loveland has absolutely had an amazing rookie year for the Chicago Bears, and the way that he's just grown, continually developed for this Bears team has been huge to see for this Bears team. And you got to keep in mind, there's a period of time where Colston Loveland wasn't even involved in the offense for real at the start of the season, right? And when you look at the production that Colston Loveland had, his ability, how he finished with the Bears as the Bears' leading receiver, and considering he wasn't even really in the game plan for periods of time there, it's been great. And this all kind of started by Ben Johnson's comments here, where he says this: "It did take a little bit of time before we built the trust with him early in the season. You play a Brian Flores defense, and he makes it a little bit more challenging to get tight ends the ball sometimes. It's hard to dictate where the ball goes against him sometimes, so it has a little bit of a slower start early in the year. And then it kind of just picked up, and it clicked for us. So I know Caleb has an immense amount of trust in him. He's a guy, he's one of the first ones in the building every single day. He's always studying his playbook. While he's eating breakfast, he always is the last one out of the practice field doing the jugs machine. Motto of consistency, which for a rookie speaks volumes. And a coaching staff, as we really believe in him, and he has really just scratching the surface of what he can become." And this is great, right? Because the drafting of Colston Loveland raised a lot of questions at the time. Where the Bears drafted him, where the Bears drafted him at the position, people were questionable. Even though there had been rumors at that point that the Bears are going to draft a tight end, a lot of people did not think it was going to be Colston Loveland who was drafted, and the Bears ended up picking him up. And for what it's worth, it's paid off for the Chicago Bears. And that's why taking risk works out sometimes, right? And, going back on it, was Colston Loveland even really that much of a risk? And that's a fair question. Colston Loveland has been great for the Bears. And as the Bears have progressed throughout the season, the progression of Colston Loveland has almost directly been with the offense becoming better, right? And so while Colston Loveland, he finished the season with 713 yards. 713 yards. He played 16 games for the Chicago Bears. You're talking about a player now that is going to have expectations as a tight end to maybe hit consistently 800 to 1,000 yards next season, depending on how the offense continues to develop. He also had 6 touchdowns, tied for the most receiving touchdowns for the Chicago Bears. It was him, DJ Moore, and Rome Odunze. All three of those guys had 6 touchdown receptions on the season. And with those guys all having 6 touchdown receptions, it just goes to show again, like I said, I know that the Bears offense has had its issues, right? And while it ranks statistically very high around the NFL, we haven't always been able to move the ball in the air the way we wanted to. We haven't always been healthy on top of that, right? You look at Rome Odunze, he played 12 games. This is going to be a receiving core that I think not only is going to have the exact identity and profile that Ben Johnson wants them to have, but on top of that, they're going to have a multitude of different looks and weapons to throw out there. But to get back on Colston Loveland, right? As a rookie, to already look like one of the best and most complete tight ends in football, because keep in mind, we talk about receiving yards, it's kind of the easier thing to look at when it comes to a player like Colston Loveland, but let's not overlook as well that he's solid in the blocking game, and especially in run blocking. Colston Loveland is really good on top of that. So this is a player in Colston Loveland that has the sky's the limit really for him. And you have a coach in Ben Johnson, an offensive coordinator in Declan Doyle. You have all these things that are going to continue to play off for this team and just be able to be weapons that we continually build off on. And so That's something I feel very, very confident about. I love seeing this for this team, and I love the fact that Loveland is a Chicago Bear and is somebody that is putting in the work to turn the heads of the coaches as well. If Colston keeps developing this way, we're not going to be talking about somebody who's just a really good tight end. We could be talking about somebody who's going to be one of the best tight ends in football for years to come. Now, that's a lot to throw on him, and I'm not going to say that quite yet. We got to see how he develops from year 1 to year 2. But when you look at everything that he's done so far this season, 58 receptions. He led the Chicago Bears in receptions, led us in receiving yards, tying Rome Odunze and DJ Moore in touchdowns. You look at what he did as far as in his playoff debut. He set rookie franchise tight end records for 137 yards, 8 receptions, as well as a 2-point conversion in that as well. Ben Johnson knew exactly what he wanted in a tight end for this offense, and he got that exact guy. Ryan Poles went out and got that guy for Ben Johnson. And that just goes to show you, again, what I've been talking about for the last couple of episodes. Like, this Bears team isn't good by mistake. It's not by happenstance. It isn't just by, things just coming together. It's by intention. The Bears went out and got their head coach, and then they allowed that head coach to form the identity of the players they wanted in the building. They allowed that head coach to go out and form the identity of the coaches that he wanted on his staff. And therefore, you're seeing these things work in a lot more synergy than it has with the Chicago Bears. I know people are going to talk about Cole Kmet and should we hold on to Cole and all that type of stuff. Cole Kmet is probably going to be here for the foreseeable future. He may not get a second contract with the Bears. By the end of that, the Bears may look, to move him to get some value. We'll see, right? But as it stands right now, you want both those guys out there because Cole Kmet did a really good job in the blocking game this year, and he had a decent production as well. Like, it just so happens we have a better receiver, a better route runner as well in Colston Loveland and what he means to this team. But this is going to be a fun pairing of receivers with Colston Loveland and the wide receivers with Colston Loveland and Cole Kmet with Colston Loveland and Caleb Williams. That's all going to be great. And we got that at the 10th overall pick. And, you expect that production at a 10th overall pick. But this is a guy that people thought we were going to draft Tyler Warren. There was so much talk about the Bears going out and getting Tyler Warren. And you look at him being, pre-draft, the consensus #1 tight end in that. And look how Loveland came in. Look at the skill set. Look at all of that. It's a great pick, and it just keeps getting better and better. And like I said, the 2025 draft class by the Chicago Bears is one of the best. And it has a chance to get better because Ruben Hippolyte, Shamar Turner, like these guys still have not played. And Zay Frazier, right? So we're going to see how this continues to develop. But, man, the Bears got them one in Colston Loveland, and I can't wait to see how this guy continues to develop, man. But with that said, and Ben Johnson talking about Colston Loveland, and, how Colston came on as the season went on forward. One thing that happened also with the Bears this season is that Ben Johnson came in with the job of developing Caleb Williams, of doing a much better job than what Matt Eberflus, Luke Getsy, Thomas Brown, like all these guys did with Caleb Williams. And Ben Johnson did a great, between Ben Johnson, Declan Doyle, they did a great job with that. Caleb Williams talked about this and he said this. I would say he's helped with confidence. Because you go out there and you read the defense and obviously he has a track record of being one of the best offensive coordinators. Right now, for me, he's top candidate for head coach of the year, which we'll talk about a little bit here in a second. He continues to go on by saying this, but you go out there and I have these meetings with him and our trust and relationship, our bond has grown. So when you have that trust and you got somebody that has your back, has your six, the confidence goes through the roof. Then you have the meetings and such belief in his play calling and your team and who's on the field with you, your confidence goes through the roof. Like I said, you have these meetings with him, and he tells you this play is for this, and just playing his offense, his scheme, and trying to play it well, keep the offense on the field, all of these different things, and you go out there and you work so hard, and you hit these plays, and all these different things, confidence just keep growing. I would say yes, he's helped with the confidence as a team, us as an organization, and also myself. That's great. When you think about the duo and the importance of the relationship between your head coach and your quarterback, that is one of the most important relationships in the game of football. And Ben Johnson understood that. And when you look at what Caleb Williams has done under Ben Johnson and how he's grown as a player, and I know they're going to be the naysayers that come in and be like, well, Haize, but the 58% completion percentage, what about that? And I got that to say, listen, growth doesn't mean that it's perfection. That if you're perfection, that doesn't mean you continue to grow. So yes, Caleb Williams wasn't perfect. Caleb Williams fell short of Ben Johnson's challenge of the 70% completion percentage. No doubt about that. But I tell you what, I have a lot of faith in Ben Johnson's ability to get Caleb Williams there. 3,942 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, only sacked 24 times after being sacked 60 plus times the season before that. Caleb Williams has grown as a quarterback under Ben Johnson. Now, outside of just the stats, when you watch the game of football, you understand that Caleb Williams has absolutely grown under Ben Johnson as a player, as a leader, and as a quarterback in the NFL. And that's going to be it. It's going to be a steady progression. It's not done. I know people wanted this add water quarterback, and boom, we're off to the races. That was never going to be that. Yeah, we told you guys that when Caleb Williams was drafted. But the fact is that Ben Johnson has brought something to this team that we have not had in years. And that's identity, expectations, and accountability. That's what he's brought to this team, and he's done it consistently. And so I think when you look at Caleb, and if you want to see whatever, anybody on this team, when you want to see people reach their potential, you have to have the right coach in place to do that. Ben Johnson is the right coach to get these guys to hit their potential. And the fact of the matter is, in the first year of Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson being a duo and a pairing, look at where we are. We have a chance to go to the NFC Championship game. Now, we got to leave it all out there on the field, but we have a chance to do that. And that's the important part of that. And that leads me to the next part of the conversation. And I'm going to piggyback off this comment from Mark Spears, in which he said this. This is one of the best jobs since I've been here at this network that I've seen a coach do with a team and changing the psychology of a team. Now, I want to ask this question. Is Ben Johnson the coach of the year? Is Ben Johnson the coach? Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of teams that had some great seasons this year. But when you look at the way that the Bears are viewed, and for a lot of people still are viewed as a team that's just lucky, all those type of things, all those things that we talked about at the beginning of the show. Is Ben Johnson the coach of the year? You look at the moments that Ben Johnson has had. The shirt off moment, the fuck the Packers moment, the after wins, the speeches that he gives the players. Yeah, the Patriots had an amazing season. 14-3 on the season. They had an amazing season. And very well so, their coach is going to be in talk to be the coach of the year. Absolutely, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars, they go 13-4. They had themselves a hell of a season. The Denver Broncos went 14-3. They had themselves a hell of a season. But the fact of the matter is, the Chicago Bears, if people are keeping the same energy by how y'all talked about the Bears before the season started, how can Ben Johnson not be the coach of the year? Because a lot of this national media who do vote for things like coach of the year, y'all thought this Bears team, thought that we were DOA before we even had a chance. And when we started off the season 0-2, it was nothing but reaffirming the negativity that they thought and had in the way they talked around the Chicago Bears. But you look at what Ben Johnson has done coming into this, being the leader, to completely galvanizing not only a team, but a franchise, a fan base in the Chicago Bears. How can you not, if you're going to keep that same energy, how can he not be coach of the year? Now, if he doesn't win it, I'm not going to say that he was robbed or anything like that, because there are some coaches that definitely, they have their case for it. But Caleb Williams and his growth, the growth in the running game, look at how how we view DeAndre Swift now versus how we viewed him at the end of last year, even though the end of last season was a pretty solid season as well, right? He had a career high 1,087 yards, and a lot of you guys and the media thought, oh, well, DeAndre Swift was traded from the Lions. Ben Johnson hates DeAndre Swift. Look at how he used him. Look at the moments that we've had with this team. Look at the way that this team fights, competes, never backs down, never goes away. That's not just by happenstance. That's not just by a team that just comes in and randomly does their thing. That is by design for a coach that has empowered his players, empowered his staff, and empowered a fan base to feel and believe in the Bears again. That's what that's done. And so when you talk about coaches of the year and people who should be in that, Ben Johnson better goddamn well be a candidate for that. I don't care that the Bears didn't win number 1 seed in the NFC. I don't care that the Bears didn't have the best record in the NFL. You look at what he had to do to transform this team, the mindset, to get the Eberflus flu up out of here, as well as put pressure on this franchise that for a long time has been lazy and cheap. But George McCaskey spared no expense to bring Ben Johnson in here, and then to spend to get the staff. And then the way that we were aggressive about improving the offensive line, about the way that we got players in here like Colston Loveland, who we just talked about, that fit this system and have had success in this system. Ben Johnson deserves to be coach of the year. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Bears fan. I'm saying that because I see what he's done. I see the work that he's done, and it's not easy to do that. There are not a lot of first-year coaches who are coming in and transforming things like Ben Johnson has done. There are coaches that have been head coaches before that can come in and completely transform that. I'm not saying that it's never happened either, but it wasn't a slow build. Ben Johnson came in here and said, why can't we win now? And then turned around and went out and proved, oh, we can win now. And we did win now, and we're going to continue to win. That is a player. That is a coach that deserves to win Coach of the Year. Look at the way that the players talk about Ben Johnson versus how those same players talked about Matt Eberflus. Look at the way that the Bears are viewed now by some people who just 18 weeks ago, 19 weeks ago, were talking about the Bears and asking, oh, well, is Caleb going to be the guy? Does he actually fit Ben Johnson's system? Ben Johnson doesn't like Caleb. He doesn't believe in Caleb. Tyson Bagent this. The Bagent baddies are quiet. The naysayers have been quieted down some as well. And the Bears are winning football games. Ben Johnson deserves to be Coach of the Year. That doesn't mean he'll get it because you don't get everything you deserve, but Ben Johnson deserves to be Coach of the Year. He's brought identity to a team that needed it, surely lacked it, and has lacked it for a decade plus. Ben Johnson is him. And what he's going to continue to do with this team, I'm so excited about the future of what this team could be because we have somebody like Ben Johnson leading the way. Now, I will say this. We got to see it next year too. Because we saw coaches come in here the first year and have great first years. Now, it doesn't feel like that. Shout out to Darius, who actually said that Ben Johnson was going to be the next Matt Nagy before we hired him. Darius has since, don't flame Darius, he has since come around and been like, yeah, I was wrong on that. But Ben Johnson got like, let's continue to push this out. Now, the Bears take on the Los Angeles Rams in the divisional, and I keep having to fight from calling them the St. Louis Rams. And I want to talk about some things that we need to see in this game against the Rams. So it's not a full preview. Of course, we do that as we get closer to the game. But just looking at this, looking at the fact that both these teams, the Rams and the Chicago Bears, had comeback victories to even get to this place. The Rams had to come back against an 8-9 Panthers team to get to where they were. That's one thing, right? And then you look at the Bears having to come back against the Packers, 25 points in the fourth quarter. And now you're coming to Chicago on what is probably going to be an 11-degree night, which is going to be very different for this team. And that's why I keep talking about there actually being a home field advantage for the Chicago Bears against this Rams team. But one thing that I need to see from this team, from the Bears team, is start quickly. I think that that's hugely important for this game against the Rams. It's been important in every single game. I've talked about it for the last 4-5 weeks. Get out to quicker starts. Now, we haven't been successful in that yet, but we have to against this Rams team. The way that they put up points, we have to get out to a quicker start. And I'd say this is a game where I need to see Caleb Williams throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns. I need to see Caleb Williams have that type of game against the team. It's going to be a duel between him and Matt Stafford. At least we hope so, right? He completed 24 of 48 passes for 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions against the Packers. We need 3 touchdowns. 3 to 4 touchdowns. We need another 300 throwing yard night for Caleb Williams, and we need that. We're going to need to put Caleb Williams is going to have that level of game against this Rams team. I truly believe that. And when you look at having Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland back out there, you're going to have the weapons to go out there and do it. The Bears need to take care of business. They need to make this happen, and Caleb Williams has to have a great game against the Los Angeles Rams. Then on the flip side of that, looking at the flip side, the Bears defense has to hold Matt Stafford in control. I think if you can keep Matt Stafford around 215 to 220 yards passing on top of the cold weather, which we talked about, he's 1-9 in games where it snows or rains at outdoor stadiums. That gives you an opportunity for you to use something to your advantage against Matt Stafford. You got to do that. Now, Ben Johnson gave a lot of respect to it. He said this: I've got so much respect for that guy. You talk about the ultimate competitor. He's one of the more talented throwers of football that ever been around. Matthew is outstanding. He's a great teammate, his toughness, his physical toughness. And that's great, right? Matt Stafford threw for 4,707 yards and 46 touchdowns to 8 interception ratio that he had. And so you have to contain that. And the Bears are going to have to find a way to do that. Use the cold weather, use the field to your advantage. But Montez Sweat is going to be a big part of this as well. Montez Sweat had 10 sacks this season. Many people will forget that, and I kind of forgot that as well with how disappointed I've been in Montez Sweat. He only had 1 sack in the first 6 games. That means he had 9 sacks over the final 11 games for the Chicago Bears. We need a Montez Sweat that's going to show up against this Rams team and put some pressure on Matt Stafford. Sweat, Booker. We need those guys to be on their P's and Q's against the Los Angeles Rams team, because if you can get some pressure consistently on Matt Stafford, we can win this football game. So let's see if the Bears are going to do it. Let's see if they will. But with that said, we got one voicemail I want to get into, man. This one's from K2.
Yo, what's going on, fellas? It's your boy K2, and I'm so excited today, man. I was trying to avoid calling in, bro, because you know what, Haize? You're right, bro. I do get emotional. But let me tell you where them emotions come from, man, because being a long-time Bears fan, over 30 years, all I do is get people just talking crazy to me because my Bears are all the time just talking crazy because they just know we know as being losers, man. And, like, They got that. They got rights, right? They can do their little talking. But something changed Saturday. And as I was watching that game, man, of course, I was in my feelings. I had my wife talking crazy, my daughter talking crazy, my nephew talking crazy, my brother-in-law talking crazy. I had so many people inboxing me on Facebook, all on my page talking crazy, bro. And I'm just sitting there looking stupid like, no, bro, this cannot happen again. This cannot happen again, bro. And I don't know if y'all peeped this, but I really like Luther Burden's celebration, because every time he got a first down, he put the hand on the throat. He put the hand on the throat. And every time the boys was coming back, I just did that to the TV like, oh. And you know what happened? The minute the clock struck 0 and we won that game, boy, I was talking so much shit, I was a whole walking colostomy bag. Couldn't nobody stop me, baby. Our defense in that second half, bro, hands down, Dennis Allen, I give him all the credit, bro. 3 straight 3-and-outs. I think they punted like 4 or 5 times, bro. The way they just started stuffing shit, the way they started stopping shit, bro, from the top to the bottom, bro. I'm proud of them boys, bro. I'm super proud of our defense, bro. Our offense, we knew they was going to come back. We knew something was going to shake with them at some point, bro. We just needed chances, bro. Now, Caleb, he needs to clean up on the interceptions in the red zone, and we will, bro. But I got so much confidence in this team moving forward, bro. I just want to say I'm proud of them boys. And, man, bro, like, the excitement that I got right now, bro, even three days later, bro, it's still the same, man. But I'm going to tell y'all, man, I love y'all boys. I love how y'all cover my team, bro. Y'all the first source I go to in any Bears situation. Just want to let y'all know that, man. I love y'all, bro. And you know how I go, bro. Good, better, best. Never let it rest. And I hope y'all having a good day, and I hope y'all have an even better weekend. Chicago up, Bear down. Let's go, baby. Woo!
It's hard not to be emotional as a Bears fan. I think for good and bad reasons, right? The bad, we've been struggling for years. It's been years that the Chicago Bears have been struggling. And so that right there puts you in an emotional place because your team just is not won at the level that you have wanted them to as a fan of that team. But then you see how passionate Ben Johnson is as a head coach. You see the comebacks that we've seen, the dramatic comebacks, the victories, all that leads to emotion as a Bears fan. So, yeah, the Bears have made us proud with how they've competed this season, how they fought hard, and the heart that this team has. It's hard not to be emotional when you see that, especially when that's lacked so much for you for your franchise over the last few years. So, don't be bad to be emotional. A lot of Bears fans, if they're being honest, they'll tell you that they've gotten emotional too. And then your point about Dennis Allen, you're absolutely right. Dennis Allen's defense stepped up in that second half against the Packers. But we need that for full 4 quarters against the Rams. I'm not saying that they're going to hold them to a bunch of 3-and-outs, but we need a team that performs at that level for a full 4 quarters. If you get that, you got a chance against this Ram team. It's going to be hard. You're going to be missing TJ Edwards, and he is a big part of the heart and identity of this defense. But the Bears are going to have to find a way. DeMarco Jackson has stepped up before. We're going to need him to step up now. It's win or go home. Let's hope that the Bears can do it. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. I want to know how confident you guys are feeling heading into this game against the Los Angeles Rams, man. Make sure you guys are following us at Shy Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related. But that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.